Glory be to Yahweh. Acts chapter 14. And it was in Iconion that they entered together into the synagogue of the Yehudim, and so spake that a great multitude both of Yehudim and of Greeks believed. But the Yehudim that were disobedient badly treated the souls of those of the nations, and made them evil affected against the brothers. Long time therefore they tarried there, speaking boldly in the Lord, who bear witness to the word of his grace, granting signs and wonders to be done by their hands. But the multitude of the city was divided, and part held with the Yehudim, and part with the sent ones. And when a violent impulse occurred, both of those of the nations and of the Yehudim, with their rulers, to treat them shamefully and to stone them, they became aware of it, and fled to the cities of Lycaonia, Lystra, and Derbe, and the region round about, and there they were announcing the announcement. And at Lystra there sat a certain man, disabled in his feet, a cripple from his mother's womb, who never had walked. The same heard Paulos speaking, who, fastening his eyes upon him, and seeing that he had faith to be made whole, said with a loud voice, Stand upright on thy feet. And he leaped up and walked. And when the multitude saw what Paulos had done, they lifted up their voice, saying in the speech of Lycaonia, The gods are come down to us in the likeness of men. And they called Barnabas Zeus, and Paulos Hermes, because he was the chief speaker. And the priest of Zeus, whose temple was before the city, brought oxen and garlands to the gates, and would have done sacrifice with the multitudes. But when the sent ones, Barnabas and Paulos, heard of it, they rent their garments and sprang forth among the multitude, crying out and saying, Sirs, why do ye these things? We also are men of like passion with you, and bring you good tidings, that ye should turn from these vain things to a living God, who made the sky, and the earth, and the sea, and all that in them is, who in the generations gone by suffered all the nations to walk in their own ways. And yet he left not himself without witness, in that he did good, and gave you from the sky rains and fruitful seasons, filling your hearts with food and gladness. And with these sayings scarce restrained they the multitudes from doing sacrifice to them. But there came Yehudim thither from Antiochia and Iconion, and having persuaded the multitudes, they stoned Paulos and dragged him out of the city, supposing that he was dead. But as the disciples stood round about him, he arose up and entered into the city. And on the morrow he went forth with Barnabas to Derbe. And when they had preached the announcement to that city, and had made many disciples, they returned to Lystra and Iconion, and to Antiochia, confirming the souls of the disciples, building them up, exhorting them to continue in the faith, that through many tribulations we must enter into the kingdom of the God. And when they had appointed for them elders in every assembly, and had prayed with fasting, they commended them to the Lord, on whom they had believed. And they passed through Pisidia, and came to Pamphylia. And when they had spoken the word in Perga, they went down to Attalia, and thence from there they sailed to Antiochia, from whence they had been committed to the grace of God for the work which they had fulfilled. And when they were come and had gathered the assembly together, they rehearsed all things that God had done with them, and that he had opened the door of faith to the nations. And they tarried no little time with the disciples.